You say not overconfident. Any predictions?
I truly believe the United Workers' Party will form the next government. I don't want to get past saying nine or 10 seats, but I can say to you that there are possibilities of even a stronger win than that, but we'll wait to see how things are executed.
What's the first thing you're going to do?
Look, there's so much work to be done. Obviously, it's to be able to get a full assessment as to where we are financially. I know that Cab Chris was just down here recently, and I know that their report is due very soon. I'm not expecting a very good report. I'm also looking at our tourism numbers. Our tourism numbers are down badly this year. Cruise numbers are down over 20%, and stayover arrivals continue to decline. So obviously there's a lot of things to be able to address at once. I was very excited about the meeting that we had with the president of the Bananas Cooperative from Martinique and Guadeloupe. I feel that offers tremendous opportunity for us to be able to move forward. So critically, one of the things that this country has been missing is economic stimulus. So in addition to the social problems, we have to start now addressing the economy to get this economy rebounded as quickly as possible.
Do you have any concerns about campaign financing in terms of the public coffers?
Look, when you see people building roads and issuing contracts up until last evening, one obviously has to question what was going on. And one of the things that we chose not to make an issue in this campaign really was the government's use of Taiwanese funds. Unlike the old days where the funds were being managed out of the ambassador's office, what has happened, the monies were transferred to the Prime Minister's office. And this whole guise that these monies were going into the central coffer were just that. And clearly the Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance seem to have a lot of latitude in terms of where monies were going. I also have concerns as to money that was being used from the lottery, because we saw a lot of checks being issued from the lottery for projects throughout the country. So those are things we're going to have to review very, very quickly. And I agree with you. I think that there has to be campaign finance reform and the ability of government to be able to do things once they have prorogued Parliament. I mean, I know that it is somewhat legal, but this idea that you could be signing MOUs and that you have people working on $63 million contracts while we're all making a decision as to who they're going to elect as their government really is uncalled for.
What about the burning issue of unemployment? In the survey, that was the major issue for people and so on. How do you plan to tackle it? What's your first step in stemming the tide of unemployment?
First of all, as I said to you, the situation with the bananas is one that we'll address immediately. That's a ready market, and it really is about getting the farmers re-engaged. The Martinicans and the Guadeloupans have indicated that they are going to make resources available for inputs. The government will probably have to help with irrigation, but that's something that we want to get going very, very quickly. And as you know, once they start planting bananas and we have a secure market for it, that's money that can start coming into the economy right away. From a tourism perspective, the new incentive bill that the government has done, we would review that immediately. We think that is a flawed bill and could potentially destroy the fabric of the tourism product that we already have in Saint Lucia. And it's immediately to look at how much money is left in the tourist board coffers, because we have a problem in the UK market, and we clearly have a pending problem in the Canadian market with the currencies over there and the flatness that we're seeing in those markets. So that's something we're going to have to move on extremely quickly. As I said, we will be reducing the VAT immediately. Once we get in, we'll be able to determine to what quantum that we're going to reduce it initially, and then we will start conversations with the Ministry of Finance as well as the regional financial organizations and also civil society here, with the idea of getting rid of that, because we believe that that was not a political ploy on our part. It clearly is something that's strangleholding our economy, and we need to start getting more money in circulation in people's hands. When you look at the banking sector in our country, when banks are having to hold 17 to 20% money of their monies for reserves for bad loans, that tells you we have a major problem in this country.
In the recent past, the party has been plagued by infighting and so on. Okay, and from what the public is saying, it seems that some of the differences have been mended, or but going forward, if you were to form the next government, what measures would you take in order to prevent any reoccurrence?
Well, I think we've taken those measures. We've shown that the party is not prepared to be held ransom by anybody. We have a democratic process in our party. It's a very open process. All members and members of our party and all candidates are promoted to have their ideas. It's the freshness of those ideas that keeps you moving in the right direction. But after there's a discussion, there's a vote, and the majority rules. And we've conformed to that, and I think that everybody knows that Allen Chastanet is extremely. Once I'm leader, I'm extremely serious about that. We will not kowtow to anybody trying to hold this party ransom. We have a very clear mandate as to where we want to go. I think that we've done a fantastic job of articulating that message, that we cannot have growth without supporting what I call the invisible people in our society. They've been left behind. An unemployed single mother can't be left to fend for herself. A pensioner on a fixed income can't be left to fend for themselves. And the more vulnerable in our society cannot be left to fend for themselves. There's some big decisions we have to make as it pertains to healthcare. And we have 2 new hospitals that this government has completely failed in opening, and we have to get those open. So we are going to be looking to introduce a healthcare insurance facility as quickly as possible. Sarah Flood had indicated to you that there was already a report that was completed in 2003. So it's not to say that we're starting from ground zero. So we're going to take that report and move very quickly to see how quickly we can get that implemented, because clearly you can't have your society going around questioning how they're going to be taken care of. The education system needs a massive overhaul. One of the first things we want to do is to appoint an independent curriculum board to review the curriculum and also to evaluate the performance of our schools. You cannot have the Ministry of Education being the implementer and being the enforcer and deciding where we're going and evaluating itself all in one. I mean, there's no structure that I know that's going to work. So it's to be able to division of labor to ensure that there's more accountability in terms of the performance of education. And the other one is housing. When you go around this country, and I just want to really say to the public of Saint Lucia how grateful I am for how many people have opened up their doors and allowed me to get to know them and to understand their struggles a whole lot better. And it's just, even no matter what happens in this election, for that I'm ever blessed. I'm a very different person. I'm much more informed about my country, and I just can't thank them enough for that. But clearly, going around, housing is a critical issue in this country, and I don't think that any solution that I've met, regardless of how successful you are and how you can take care of yourself, can stand idly by and watch how other people are suffering. So we're going to have a very good minister of housing that I believe has a lot of energy and will be very focused on getting that issue resolved. With regards to the economy, I'm going to be taking the lead as it pertains to the economy. I'm going to be putting together a fantastic team. And the idea of dividing Saint Lucia into economic zones so that each of the economic zones will have their own board of directors that would act like a statutory body and be empowered to get things done. So Vieux Fort, Soufriere, Castries, Rodney Bay, Groselet, and our agricultural belt in the valley. Those are our 5 economic zones. So it's by re-stimulating those things, those areas, that we believe that we can immediately start seeing some solutions in jobs.
As the political leader, Allen Chastanet.